A True Love. Chapter 1. The Promise. James sat cross-legged on the grassy playground of Sunnydale Elementary School, his bright blue eyes focused on the red-haired girl playing on the swings. Lisa's laughter filled the air, a sound that James had come to love. At only 3 years old, he didn't fully understand the feeling, but he knew it was special. One day, as they were playing in the sandbox, James looked at Lisa with serious determination.
"I'm gonna marry you one day, Lisa."
Lisa, her green eyes wide with innocence, laughed.
"Okay, Jamie,"
she said, her voice full of the simplicity of childhood. She didn't realize the weight of his words, but James did. He made a promise to himself that he would keep. Chapter 2. Growing Up Together. James and Lisa became inseparable as they navigated through elementary school. From sharing their lunches to teaming up in class projects, their bond grew stronger with each passing year. They had countless adventures together, exploring the woods behind their school, building forts, and dreaming about their future. Their favorite spot was an old oak tree at the edge of the playground. They carved their initials into the bark, marking it as their special place. Under that tree, they shared their hopes and dreams, making promises about the future that only children could make with such certainty.
"Do you think we'll always be friends?"
Lisa asked one day as they lay under the tree, looking up at the sky through the leaves.
"Of course,"
James replied without hesitation.
"I promised I'd marry you, remember?"
Lisa giggled.
"Yeah, you did. I guess that means we'll be friends forever."
Chapter 3. Moving Away. When James was 10, his father got a job offer in another city. The news came as a shock to both James and Lisa. They spent their last days together under the old oak tree, carving their initials deeper into the bark and promising to write to each other.
"I'll never forget you, Lisa,"
James said, his voice breaking.
"Me neither,"
Lisa replied, tears streaming down her cheeks.
"Promise you'll come back?"
James nodded.
"I promise."
The move was hard on James. He felt like he had left a piece of his heart back in Sunnydale. The new city was bustling and exciting, but it lacked the warmth of his hometown and the comfort of Lisa's presence. Lisa found it hard to adjust as well. She missed James terribly, but she threw herself into her studies and extracurricular activities, trying to fill the void. They wrote to each other for a while, but as the years passed and life grew busier, the letters became less frequent until they eventually stopped altogether. Chapter 4. High School and New Beginnings. James and Lisa found themselves in different worlds as they entered high school. James became involved in sports and made new friends, while Lisa excelled in academics and joined various clubs. Despite their new surroundings and busy schedules, they never forgot each other. James often thought about Lisa during quiet moments, wondering how she was doing and if she remembered their childhood promise. He kept a picture of them under the old oak tree in his room, a reminder of the bond they shared. Lisa, on the other hand, kept a journal where she wrote about her memories with James. She would often flip through the pages, smiling at the recollections of their adventures and wondering if they would ever see each other again. Chapter 5. The College Years. Time passed, and both James and Lisa graduated high school and headed off to college. Fate, it seemed, had a plan for them. James was accepted into a prestigious university, and as he walked into his first class, he spotted a familiar face. His heart skipped a beat. There, sitting in the front row, was Lisa. Her red hair was a little longer, and she looked more mature, but her green eyes were the same. James took a deep breath and approached her.
Lisa?
He said, his voice a mix of disbelief and hope. Lisa turned, and her eyes widened in recognition.
James. Oh my God, it's you.
She jumped up and hugged him, a gesture that felt like coming home. Chapter 6. Rebuilding Friendship. James and Lisa quickly fell back into their old rhythm. They spent hours catching up on everything they had missed in each other's lives. James told Lisa about his love for literature and his dreams of becoming a writer. Lisa shared her passion for environmental science and her hopes to make a difference in the world. Their friendship blossomed once again, and soon they were inseparable, just like in the old days. But for James, it was more than just friendship. His childhood promise echoed in his mind, and he realized that his feelings for Lisa had only grown stronger over the years. They spent late nights studying together, going on hikes, and exploring the city. They even found an old oak tree in the park near their university, which became their new spot for deep conversations and shared dreams. Chapter 7. The Confession. One crisp autumn afternoon, James and Lisa decided to visit their old hometown. They walked through the familiar streets, reminiscing about their childhood adventures. As they approached Sunnydale Elementary School, James felt a surge of nostalgia.
Do you remember the sandbox?
James asked, pointing to the old playground. Lisa smiled.
How could I forget? We spent hours there.
James took a deep breath, his heart pounding.
Lisa, there's something I need to tell you.
Lisa looked at him curiously.
What is it, James?
James led her to the old oak tree where they had carved their initials all those years ago. He turned to her, his eyes filled with sincerity.
Lisa, I made a promise when I was 3 years old. I promised myself that one day I would marry you. I know it sounds crazy, but I've loved you for as long as I can remember.
Lisa's eyes widened in surprise, and she felt a rush of emotions.
James,
But before she could finish, James got down on one knee and pulled out a small velvet box.
Lisa, will you marry me?
Tears filled Lisa's eyes as she looked at the boy who had been her best friend, the boy who had kept his promise for all these years.
Yes, James. Yes, I will.
Chapter 8. Planning the Future. The weeks following their engagement were a whirlwind of excitement and planning. James and Lisa wanted their wedding to reflect their journey together, from their childhood memories to their reunion at university. They decided to have the ceremony at Sunnydale Elementary School, under the old oak tree where James had proposed. It was a place filled with memories, and they wanted to start their new life together in the same place where it had all begun. They visited their families to share the joyous news. Lisa's parents were thrilled, having always remembered James as the sweet boy from their neighborhood. James' parents, too, were overjoyed to see their son so happy and in love. As the wedding planning progressed, James and Lisa found themselves growing even closer. They learned to navigate the stresses of planning a big event, leaning on each other for support and making decisions together. Chapter 9. The Wedding Day. The day of the wedding arrived, and the schoolyard was transformed into a beautiful outdoor venue. Friends and family gathered, smiling and wiping away tears of joy. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the scene. Lisa walked down the aisle, her red hair cascading over her shoulders and a radiant smile on her face. James stood at the altar, his heart swelling with love and pride. As they exchanged vows, their voices filled with emotion, everyone could see the deep connection between them. It was a love story that had spanned 2 decades, a story of promises kept and dreams fulfilled. The reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. James's best man, his college roommate, shared stories of James's unwavering love for Lisa. Lisa's maid of honor, her childhood friend, spoke about the special bond Lisa and James had always shared. Chapter 10. A New Beginning. After the wedding, James and Lisa settled into their new life together. They continued to pursue their passions, supporting each other every step of the way. James wrote his first novel, inspired by their love story, and it became a bestseller. Lisa made significant strides in her environmental work, making a positive impact on the world. They often returned to Sunnydale, visiting the old oak tree and reminiscing about their childhood. They knew that their love was built on a foundation of friendship, trust, and a promise made long ago. Chapter 11. Facing Challenges Together. Life wasn't always perfect, and James and Lisa faced their fair share of challenges. There were times when their careers demanded more of them, causing stress and tension. But they always found a way to communicate and support each other. When James's father fell ill, they spent many weekends traveling back to be with him. During this difficult time, Lisa's unwavering support helped James stay strong. Her kindness and empathy deepened his love for her even more. When Lisa faced setbacks in her environmental projects, James was there to encourage her and remind her of the difference she was making. Together, they celebrated their victories and comforted each other during their losses. Chapter 12. Building a Family. A few years into their marriage, James and Lisa welcomed their first child, a beautiful baby girl they named Emily. Holding their daughter for the first time, they felt an overwhelming sense of love and responsibility. Parenthood brought new challenges and joys. They found themselves forever